Hello and welcome. So, lesson 9, and we have got a wonderful interview for you today. It's with Nathan Bird, the general manager of Eagle Wing Tours. Thank you for joining us, Nathan.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
So, if it's okay, I'm going to ask you a few questions about ecotourism, which is what this lesson's all about. So, I'm going to jump straight in with the questions. What was the inspiration behind Eagle Wing Tours?
So I'll just give a bit of contextual background. We are on the far west coast of Canada, and we're on Vancouver Island. It's one of the most pristine and amazing places in the world. The natural beauty in this area is pretty much unparalleled. And we have a lot of wildlife and a lot of really cool things to see and a lot of great scenery in this area. So, we were founded by, I'll also preface that I wasn't around since the inception. So I'm going to speak on behalf of our very passionate owners who've been doing this for 20 years before I came on board. We were owned by two locally born and raised gentlemen that really feel strongly about, like ecotourism, giving back to society, doing right by the environment. And as I was alluding to earlier, we have so many great things to see and to do in this area. And of course, we're one of the only sort of 13 places in the world that you can find an orca. And those are pretty popular and people like to see them. And people really appreciate seeing them in the wild as well. So the owners set out a bit of a mission to offer unparalleled adventure tours and to really showcase this area and its beauty. We also aim to educate people, but also to thrill them, and so that they can have fun, and that they don't mind parting with $150 to go and sit on a boat and get what we call as a saltwater facial and a new hairdo, but also hopefully that they'll learn something and take more away from that experience as well. And as the years have developed, I mean, we're in 2021 now, and the company was founded about 1997. Now, the things that sort of continue to inspire us is our people. Our number one asset is our staff. They're amazing at what they do. They tell stories that are passionate, that are scientifically based, that are research based, that people learn from and really appreciate. Actually, I'll talk about a little bit later here as we're going through, but one of the things that we just finished was a new round of interviews for all of our summer staff that are coming in, and it's a really exciting time because you see the passion and the energy that these people have done, and they've done their research on your company, and it's just nice to hear that a lot of people want to join us because of the efforts that we make, and because of our our sustainability and all the pillars that we founded our company on. It's really exciting time, and so we instill our sense of doing the right thing, being sustainable, promoting conservation, all those kinds of things right from the outset, and we just instill that, and we just keep it going in our people as long as they're with us. So yeah, hopefully that's a roundabout way of answering your first question, but hopefully there you go.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Now, you mentioned the pillars that you guys were founded on. Now, I know because I've done my research on you guys, but nobody else, well, not nobody, but the other people watching, the students, don't know what they are. So can you tell us about the 4 pillars that you were founded on?
Sure. So actually, this was an exercise that came out sort of later after the company was founded. In all honesty, and actually, even our messaging is actually changing over the last 6 to 8 months as well. So from what we've been doing, so I'm not sure what you research, but I can tell you what they are right now. So what we've just really kind of sort of really drilled down to is that our 4 pillars are education, conservation, research, and sustainability. And I'll expand upon each of those just as I go along here. So in education, we educate our guests through our what we call our floating classroom, both in our education program, our community outreach, our website, social media, every touch point that we can possibly get on, that we can do any kind of education, we're all about that. In terms of conservation, we have sort of taken not a mission statement, but sort of a boilerplate statement in the last couple of years. And we say, we're actually a conservation organization that happens to run whale and wildlife tours. So we're almost turning the equation around a little bit and saying, let's start with being a conservation company. And if we can do everything else right as well, that's great. But that's a great place to start. Sort of an overarching campaign. For sustainability, we're always looking for new ways to reduce our carbon footprint, and we're always ready to embrace the new vision of what we're calling regenerative tourism as well. So, and ecotourism. And for research, we support and we engage in community-based research partnerships. We actively conduct and enable research on board our vessels. We really encourage citizen science. We invite researchers of all walks of life to come on board our vessels, and just, we're already going out, we're already on the water, we're already doing all these things. If we can offer that up to someone who wants to come out and do some research, we're all for it. And also we support quite a few of our staff members to get through some of their master's programs. And yeah, it's just these are all the things that we've sort of now, this is how we do business. And all of our staff are on board with it and they love it, which is great. And it kind of separates us from our competition as well. I mean, I'll be honest, we're in a very competitive industry and we are a private business. We need to make money as well. But, what we do is if we base ourselves on those 4 pillars, that's what brings us up. And that's actually what makes us successful.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. Something you mentioned there about like sustainability, obviously it's something I'm incredibly, I'm fanatical about, to be honest. I'd like to know how you stay sustainable in your industry.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, let's not make any secret about it. I mean, the boat that's behind me there in the background there, that's our flagship vessel. She's a 57-foot dual-hulled catamaran, a luxury vessel, beautiful. She's run by Marine Diesel, and we make no secret about that. It is what it is. I was actually just on a call yesterday with another gentleman talking about CNG, compressed natural gas, hydrogen, electric. And unfortunately, the technologies aren't quite there for what we need for our application. So we are using marine diesel. However, one of the things that we pioneered on doing is in 2009, Eagle Wing became the first carbon neutral whale watching company in North America. And in 2000, thank you. And in 2014, we became members of what's called 1% for the Planet, where we take 1% of our gross revenues and we donate them to other 1% for the Planet certified businesses and partnerships across the world. Mainly we stick in the Salish Sea area where we are, so we can support the programs that are in and around our playground here. But that doesn't mean that we won't support things that are further away as well. So sorry, the point with that is that, I mean, yes, we use diesel, but we also offset everything. So we, and that's how you become carbon neutral. And I'm sure you'll get into that in your classes as well. So a big part of this is we hold ourselves accountable, but then we also actually pay a third party to hold us accountable every year. So we work with a great organization here in Victoria called Synergy Enterprises. And actually they've become a really big company and a great player in town. And what they do is they go around to other tourism businesses, so not just us, and they put their checklist in front of you and they measure literally everything that we do in a year. And I'm talking every bag of garbage, every bag of compost, everything we recycle, everything we order for parts. We also measure all of our staff commuting, like how are they getting to work? When we run shuttles, how many shuttle trips are we doing? How much gasoline are we using? And we just spit all the information at them, and then they spit out a report to us and they tell us what we need to do, what we've done well, what we could do better on, how we're going to offset and how we're going to pay for our carbon offsets, because the more carbon we produce, the more we owe. So it is what it is. It's a cost of doing business, but it's also the right thing to do. And sort of I alluded to it earlier, but we also just hire all the best people. As I was mentioning, we just did the interviews. If I sit in an interview with anybody and they don't mention the word sustainability once, I just regret them. And it doesn't even matter. They could be the most amazing, they could be the most amazing candidate. But if they're not coming in with the mindset that if you want to join our company, this is how we do business. We're really blessed here. We get hundreds of applicants every year and we only have to hire about 5 or 6 people. So I can be really picky when we're hiring people. So it's kind of in the mindset of not only of our existing staff, but also our staff that are coming in that are just being hired for the year, which is exciting for us as well. And then we ensure that all our employees learn about all of our sustainability initiatives, not only during onboarding, but also just during the time they're with the company. We hold a lot of informational sessions. We send out a lot of newsletters and emails. We just eat, live, and breathe it when you're at work, and it's just part of our culture. It's just part of the culture, just to not only think about these things when you're at work, but also to take them to your home life as well. Like I noticed when I joined this company, like you can't just check it at the door when you're working and put this corporate face on. It's like, what do you even do at home? Like, are you composting? Are you recycling? Are you buying single-use plastics? Are you, like, just little things like that? And anything that you can do within an organization to change people's minds and their way of doing things, and if it's for the positive, that's a good thing. We also ensure that we partner with like-minded companies. So we do business, we only buy things from sustainable companies. We only lend our name and our logo and things like that to people that are aligned with our values. And we find that really important. And one really great thing about our part of the world, and if you ever get a chance to come to Vancouver Island, we are at the sort of like the greenest place in Canada, and Canada's somewhat ahead of the curve on that. I don't want to get into that discussion, but Vancouver Island is a pretty cool place for that, and very like-minded people here on the island. Very health conscious, very conservation conscious, very environmentally conscious. And then, on top of that, we walk the walk. So one of the great things that we've had in Victoria, unfortunately, it had to be, of course, virtual this last year because of COVID, is we were one of the early adopters of the Impact Conference. Now, the Impact Conference has been going for 4 years now in Victoria, and this is a tourism-related conference that brings people together to have the really tough conversations about sustainability. And we were one of the first adopters of that and one of the first sponsors, and we will just continue to support things like that going forward. And we're really proud of our partnership there. And then finally, well, not finally, because I could go on all day, but one of the things that we embraced and took on, especially over this last year, was we're working towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So I'm not sure, you're nodding, which is great. So obviously you're up to speed. So there are 17 of them, and the United Nations have set some pretty lofty goals of getting to all of these by the year 2030. However, it's only going to happen if people like us jump on board and do these things. So one thing that we did is it's a pretty exhaustive list, and some things don't necessarily apply directly to us. So we thought, you know what, let's bite off what we can chew this year. And we set a 1 year, a 2 to 5 year, and a 6 to 10 year goal. But we're starting out with 6 of them. And we're going to try to eventually get to all 17, but we're really concentrating on 6 of them right now. And that's sort of where our focus is and where our plan is. And then we check in a lot with ourselves and we hold ourselves accountable. And the team is really motivated, and again, it just helps to speak to the brand as well. Again, we're in business. We're here to make money as well. Like, I'm not going to make any secret about it. And anything that draws attention to your company because you're doing the right things for travelers that are conscious about these kinds of decisions, it's going to put bums in seats, and bums in seats equals revenue. So it's also the right thing to do.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, something like that with Renewable English is, it's something that I care deeply about, but it's also something that other people care about as well. So if people can see that, it is something you're passionate about, then, they will kind of gravitate towards you. And that's, it's a great thing that, as you say, in your line of work, in your business, there is a lot of competition. So if you can have that kind of sustainability beacon above you, well, it's fantastic in my point of view. I do have one more question for you.
Please.
Now, I would love to come to Vancouver Island, and when all of this lockdown stuff is finished, then it's one of the places quite high on my list. But I'd like to know what advice you can give to somebody who are taking their first steps into ecotourism.
Sure. A few things. I would suggest do some case studies. Learn from the experts. Go, learn what the best practices and models are, and then try to adapt them to what it is that you're trying to do. Do an internship somewhere if you can. Ask questions. Be curious. Also, be bold. and you be entrepreneurial. You got to think outside the box. It took a lot of guts for our owners and a lot of forethought to become carbon neutral in 2009. Like we're talking, that's 12 years ago. That's before it was the cool thing to do. So really proud of my owners for that, and a big reason why I joined the company as well. Again, I alluded to it earlier, but partner with organizations that mirror your values. Don't bother with people that aren't going to be of the same, that aren't going to align with you. They're going to waste your time, and it's going to be white noise. Hold yourself accountable, both in the business and in your home lives. Ask questions. Do I need that? Do I need to buy that? Is that a sustainable product? Where is it made? Who made it? And when you do eventually get into business, be honest with your customer base. Don't greenwash. Don't lie. You'll be outed. You'll be found out soon enough. And that is worse and more detrimental to business in the long run than being honest is in the first place. And like we started out this conversation, like I told you, we still use marine diesel. Like we're not going to lie about that. But what you do, in the other walks, the other facets of your business will also help to define you. Also, if you're going to go into something like ecotourism, and I'll relate to like us here, because of course we're a whale and wildlife tour, is set your guests' expectations low. And what I mean by that is, a lot of people come in with really preconceived notions about what a whale watching tour is going to be like. And they think the whales are going to jump over the boat, and they think that the whales are going to be jumping and getting out of the water, and they think that they're going to be killing things all the time. Well, no, that's not going to always happen. And one of the things that we really try to tell our guests is you need to remember that we are a guest in that wild animals environment, and we need to be respectful of that. So if we get out there and we're on site with whales and they're sleeping or not very doing much or not hunting or not jumping out of the water, so be it. It's, here you are, you're in the presence of some of the most magnificent animals you'll ever see in the entire world. Enjoy it. And then if and when they start to jump and mill around and kill things and do really exciting things, that's just the cherry on top as far as we're concerned. So again, we just, like if you're ever going to get into like bear watching or, any kind of ecotourism company, whales, bears, whatever it is, set people's expectations really low. And then when the cool things happen, it's just gravy as far as we're concerned. So I hope that makes sense, but that's some of the stuff that we really strive toward.
Fantastic. Well, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on. And I'd like to wish you all the luck in the future to keep on at it the way you are, because it's just fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on.
You're welcome, Harry. And when you come to Vancouver Island, you look me up. I'll get you on a boat, okay?
I absolutely will.
All right, mate. All right, take care.
Bye.